Good morning, everyone. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day, and I've just hidden what we're discussing now because we're not talking about that yet. We're just getting started. How is everyone doing? Good morning, good Monday. And welcome in everyone who is in the chat. I see there's a bunch of you here already, including Chappers, who had a week off and has only just noticed the brand new sexy countdown video. Yeah. How's about that intense build up to the countdown? Nice. How's everyone doing? How is everyone doing? I'd say ban him because he's living out his Mamma Mia fantasies in Greece. How dare you spend time in Greece? But anyway, welcome in everyone. My name is Graham Day. This man in the matching hat is the man that we call.
That's me. You got RTX then.
Okay, he's the man that we call Baby. There we go. Can't do it high pitch because RTX.
Yeah.
Ads, thank you very much for the host. Setting off the lights. Lumia stream is all working, so we have disco lights in the background. Nice. How's things, babe?
Yeah, good man. Are you good? A good weekend?
Yeah, nice and chilled. For those of you that may have been... Oh, we have...
Morning,
Chucky.
guys.
Well, there we are. That's it. Straight back into it. Chucky, who is a proud Twitch affiliate now. GG on that, by the way. Chucky has just dropped his 7-month subscription using that Prime. Oof, nice. Thanks, Chucky. How the devil are you, good sir? But yeah, me, I'm not bad. I've not been on stream since Wednesday when we had one of the most electrifying tournaments on PES 2021 the world has ever seen. I'm not going to lie, it was ridiculous. Obviously, we're going to say that anyway because it's our tournament. But the final of the Muscle Moose Cup, the grand finals took place, and it started out strong and then just went ridiculous all the way through it. If you want to watch something back, if you find yourself with a few hours spare today, even if if you have half an hour spare, go watch the semi-final and the final of the Muscle Moose Cup. It went from like nice paced to ridiculous, couldn't get any better, but then somehow got better again. It was ridiculous. So anyway, after that I had my anniversary and haven't been back since. So nice. Went uber excited and then just chilled out for a few days and ate all the food, which is nice. What about you? How was your weekend?
I'm trying to remember what I did on Saturday, and I honestly can't remember. I didn't play golf.
I was about to say, does it involve golf?
No. That was yesterday and Friday. I honestly can't remember. I don't know what I did.
Fun weekend.
Yeah. It's just mostly I went to go and get my hair cut. That was it. As good as it got.
I have that happening later on this week. Not that I've got booked in, but I am best manning at a wedding. I say at a wedding, at a ceremony. I don't know if we could call it a wedding. It's a patch on what it was planned to be. It's a patch on what it was planned to be. My cousin was supposed to be married in April, and now they're just going through the ceremony just to make the everything official, and then they're going to do all the stuff next year. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very small affair. So I'm best manning. That was it.
Hey.
Happy anniversary to you,
That's what you did this week. That's what you did last weekend.
No, that's what I'm doing this weekend. So I'm getting my hair cut on Thursday ahead of best manning. Look pretty in a suit, but just registry office, a few people, and then back home again. That's pretty much it. Had like a big grand affair. Me, I played some PUBG yesterday and then didn't really play anything. Me and Danielle were taking our anniversary seriously, so we had alcohol pretty much every day, and heavy foods and all the rest. So yeah, didn't really do anything. Danielle went for a walk with one of her friends yesterday, so I used that time to just do some PUBG catching up, some nice casual dailies. I opened up PES once to do the Legend Challenge because it finished yesterday. And I just got slapped by the AI. So I thought, do you know what? I can't be asked for the stress. Fuck this shit, I'm out. So
see, the last Legend Challenge that I did, I ended up winning 5-1. Like everything I hit went in. I'm sure it was against Juve, and every time Ronaldo had the ball, I just managed to tackle him first time. So that one, playing it on the Legend, was probably the easiest one I've played. The one before it, because there was two, wasn't there? The one before it, I had to do like 4 or 5 times, and every single time it went to penalties because I'd score a late equaliser.
Yeah,
that was annoying.
The first one that I've not finished
was the one on Superstar.
Well, I did the Superstar and then went to Legend difficulty.
Yeah.
So it's the first one I've not finished. I did the Superstar, which gave me Iniesta, which instantly took the wind out of my sails because I already had Iniesta. So I fed Iniesta to Iniesta, and I got 1,300 XP for feeding a
Oof.
legend player away.
Yeah,
So I was
that's
gutted.
rough.
So that kind of just took the wind out of my sails at that point. I wasn't really that bothered about trying anymore because if I get another player, chances are I'm going to get Oliver Kahn or someone like that I've already got, and just won't be
Yeah.
worth it. So I thought, do you know, I'll give it a try. The first game, it was 90 minutes in, and I completely forgot it went to extra time. I thought you had to get the win. So I went full attacking and conceded in the 90th minute, thinking I needed the win.
Oh, that's rough.
Didn't realise that it went to extra time. I only found out it went to extra time when I was watching Chucky's stream the night after, like last Wednesday. So I did that on Tuesday last week. So then when I saw that, I thought, anyway,
Yeah.
yesterday I got drawn against United, and I thought, do you know what? I tend to have more success against the attacking teams. So if you play against a Liverpool or a Barca, I don't know if Liverpool are in it, but those sort of teams, maybe Juve too, ones that tried to get on the front foot, you can get in behind them. And I thought, do you know, maybe United. I mean, they've got a statistically weaker side. Maybe I could do this, but yeah, the pace on the front three just absolutely ripped me to shit. So it was 2-0 down. I was like, yeah, fuck this shit. I'm out. Just put PUBG on instead. I'll play that instead. But do you know, like I say, it was. I didn't really need it because we got 5 iconic moments players to begin with from
Yeah.
the veterans bonus from last year, and all of the feature players and stuff. They were never going to get into my team anyway, so I didn't use my time in it. I put my time into do my
First
PUBG
Legend
missions.
Challenge I did, I got Fernando Torres for the second time. Like I got him late on last year, and I got him early doors. Right out the first day, I got Fernando Torres, and then I've got his Legend card. So I did that into the iconic moments one, and it didn't even make a dent.
Yeah, that was me. 1,396 XP for a level 90 Andre Iniesta legend. You get that for a silver ball usually. So I was like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Mr.
I
T,
did
good
start
morning.
Mafia last night. Oh,
Uh,
speaking of which, yeah, I did start.
Perfect timing.
Last night. Yeah. So I played 2 or 3 hours of that last night. I did start it in this room on my gaming monitor, but film noir type things like that need to be on the big screen, don't they? So I took it downstairs and played in the front room for a couple of hours. Really, really good game. Enjoying it so far. It's the smooth jazz, man. You know, when you're driving around, it's a smooth drive. It calms you right down.
Oh, that's me playing Mafia 2. The tunes on it are incredible. Yeah, I'm still looking forward.
We've got a sub as well then. Shogun.
Yeah, you were just talking, so I was letting you finish. It
Okay.
came
How
through with a
polite of you.
TTS. It was like it says yo, but TTS was like ee-oh or ee-oo or something like that. But show, thank you for the 7 months as well. That's 7 months. It's morning already. Beautiful people, beautiful people. Thank you very much, much appreciated. Chucky says I finally got my legend difficulty one done last night after 8 attempts. I did see a post about it. What did you get from it? Played too much vanilla. Actually, no, maybe it was the Superstar. I can't remember. Ad says played too much vanilla Master League last year, so I know how the AI play. I mean, I did quite a lot of vanilla Master League as well, and yeah, usually I'm okay with it. I think maybe I just didn't believe in terms of like last year. By this point, we didn't have any iconic moments or legends, so it was kind of a big thing. Whereas this year, having I got 5 different players from the iconic moments legends. Like some people got duplicates, whereas I didn't. So my team's fairly packed out already of IMs, knowing that a legend's not going to replace most of those, unless I got Cafu, which I had like a 1 in 25 chance or whatever it was. I thought, yeah, I'm not that bothered. I'm probably not going to get what I want. I'm going to get either another goalkeeper or another centre forward. And bearing in mind that I got Mbappe to add to my list of centre forwards today from the feature players. No one's going to get ahead of that. So yeah. Haven't opened it yet. Saving it for tonight. Nice. Ad says my first 3 dropping games. My first 3 dropping games scored 7 goals and 2 assists. Nice. Speaking of nice, welcome in everyone. We are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true Ice Creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond. And some may say the UK's #1 video game podcast, and that some may be us, but it's fine, it still counts. We're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories in the world of video games. And if you are live in the chat, like a lot of you are, all been very active already, we appreciate it very much. Please do feel free to get involved. And it's important that you do, because we turn this into a YouTube video and an audio podcast. The video goes on YouTube a little bit later on today, and a little bit after that, the audio podcast goes on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you are live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish, please feel free to use your voice on behalf of those that are listening on demand. Before we jump into the news, though, we have a few stories today, some tasty ones. Before we jump into that, we have a few things to go over. First of all, I mentioned it already, the Muscle Blues Cup took place last Wednesday. We've been hyping that up for the best part of 2 or 3 weeks, and it culminated on Wednesday on the Twitch front page. And big shout out to Yoss, aka Dominator, who won one of the most exhilarating finals I've ever commentated on. I mean, I can say I've commentated on international finals, be it Argentinian region finals, be it world finals. I've commentated on some of the biggest PES stages there is. That said, the Muscle Moose Cup grand final had 2 players of PES League caliber, so we were kind of there already, and that shone through because the final, what was it, 5-all in the end, or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was ridiculous, and then we had a penalty shootout, which kind of went one way and the other, and yeah, it was intense. And that's off the back of a semi-final, which was a 0-0, and you think, 0-0, there's got to be no in that. It wasn't. It was ridiculous. It was incredible. If you do have some time, feel free to go through and watch that. It's in our videos on the channel. You can see it on previous broadcasts. Go through, check it out. Other things to mention: we gave away a Muscle Moose selection box, not only to the one that Yoss won for winning, but we have another one from for Mike, aka my Aunt Kel, who has responded to the email, so he's claimed that, so nobody else gets that. So GG, Mike, on winning that. And in terms of other giveaways, if you're an Ice Cream Upload subscriber, make sure that you've linked your Twitch and your Discord. We say this all the time, but a lot of people never do it. Make sure, if you're a sub on our channel and you're in our Discord, that's not enough. You have to link the accounts. If your accounts aren't speaking to each other, our Discord doesn't know that you're a sub. So if you haven't linked your accounts, then you could be missing out on prizes, because once a month, the first Monday of every month, we give a prize away. This month's prize is a copy of PGA 2K21, so you can get involved in all the Ice Cream Society stuff. So make sure that you've linked your accounts, because if you do that, we will be giving away a prize in Master of the League a little bit later on. So one person will win that copy of PGA 2K21. And I think that's about it for the housekeeping.
Unless we've got 21 people. We've got 21 people currently in our Discord that are available for the prize today. Now, Graham, I said to you last week that I have something that I can potentially chuck in as well, so we can have 2 winners.
That sounds good to me. That sounds good.
So not only will one winner win a copy of PGA, I actually have a code for 3 months of Xbox Game Pass. For 3 months. So we'll pick out another winner for that as well. So you get one winner will get PGA, which will be the first winner. The second winner will get 3 months of Xbox Game Pass for PC. For free.
Nice.
I said he's got to be in. So at the moment it says that we've got 49 subscribers. 21 of you are in the Discord.
Less than half.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people out in the Discord at the moment. So I mean, obviously the people that are in there, they've got a bigger chance of being able to get one of the 2 prizes today. But yeah, it's get yourselves in there. You've got a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Ads are one of them.
Yeah. There we go. So there's the link to the Discord. Thanks, Ads, for dropping that into the chat. So whilst you all have a look at your Discords and see whether they're linked, make sure you do it if you're a sub. Don't want to lose out on opportunities to win free things. Whilst you look at that, we will jump into our first news story of the day. You will have seen it if you're following us on Twitter. !Twitter, I believe, is a command. Do you know, I'm going to test that, because it used to be, but I don't know if it actually is anymore. Twitter. Yeah, there we go. Spoilers. Hashtag, Ice Cream Uploads across all channels. Anyway, the first news story, as you will have seen on Twitter, is from Vikki Blake at Eurogamer, and she says that 1 in 4 Ubisoft employees have seen or witnessed misconduct at work. Staff survey reveals everyone at Ubisoft should be able to feel confident and have the same opportunities, the tagline says. So this goes into the news, and it says, let's jump into the news. It says, an anonymous staff survey undertaken by 14,000 Ubisoft employees has revealed that 20% of staff don't feel respected or safe in the work environment at the company, with 25% of respondents, that's 1 in 4, reporting that they had either experienced or witnessed workplace misconduct. According to The Verge, the survey, the results of which were shared alongside a letter from CEO Yves Guillemot, identified that women and non-binary employees in particular were more likely to have seen or experienced harassment. Currently, women make up 22% of all staff at the company. In correspondence to all staff, Gilmore confirmed Ubisoft was looking to improve the gender balance of the organisation by increasing the number of women employed at Ubisoft by 2% by 2023 and committed to hiring a new head of diversity and inclusion and new vice presidents. There's a quote within the article that says, "Everyone at Ubisoft should be able to feel confident and have the same opportunities regardless of their gender, skin colour, religion, age, or other individual traits," concluded Gilmore's letter. As we summarised a little while back, Ubisoft has found itself at the centre of multiple allegations from staff regarding toxic work conditions at the company, including allegations of serious sexual misconduct aimed at members of senior management, some of who have since parted ways with the publisher. Addressing the situation earlier this month, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot said he was determined to do everything in his power to ensure that everyone at Ubisoft feels welcomed, respected, and safe. Most recently, Ubisoft has announced that Rayman and Beyond Good and Evil creator Michel Ancel had left to work at a wildlife sanctuary after 30 years with the company. A new article from French newspaper Liberation shed additional light on his departure, however, reporting that it followed an investigation into complaints accusing him of toxic leadership. That's the end of the article. Bib, thoughts?
You'd think how they've been in the news for so long that they would try to turn it around internally as fast as possible. Yet here we are over a year later, and this stuff is still being printed. Like, are they not taking it seriously enough?
I mean, it's an interesting one because this is a staff survey. So Ubisoft, I mean, the fact that 25% of respondents, that's 1 in 4 as it says in the article, have witnessed workplace misconduct. That information has come directly from Ubisoft themselves. So it's an interesting one because on the one hand, they are being painted or placed in not painted in a negative light as such. Well, they are, but that's not necessarily what I was going for. They are being placed in the limelight, not necessarily for the reason that you want, but at their own doing. So they are currently addressing this. But yeah, a year later, and 25% of respondents. I mean, 25% of respondents have witnessed workplace misconduct. That on its own could be a sign that stuff is still shit, or witnessed. I mean, there's no time frame on that. They could have witnessed it before things started to be fixed. So, okay, let's just kind of put a little bit of a pin in that one and say, okay, they've witnessed it. We don't know if it was before or after they've started to try and make changes. But even still, 20%, so 1 in 5, don't feel respected or safe in the work environment. And that's the different one. If you don't feel respected, I mean, you could have seen something before changes were starting to make place. But still, almost as many people don't feel respected or safe in their work environment. And that is something that is more telling to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously these will be done absolutely anonymously, so it's not as if even they can talk. I mean, the one-to-ones must be. I can't even begin to imagine what kind of discussions get brought up in that. I hope people are confident enough in the one-to-ones with the managers and stuff like that to be able to talk about this kind of thing, because it's all well and good filling out an anonymous survey, but if you've got actual gripes, I mean, it's a difficult position, because if they was to say, I feel like I'm being victimized within your one-to-one, then you put an even bigger target on your back than you potentially may have had before. So it's kind of it's not a great situation for them to be in, but
Yeah.
it's yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not in a position to be able to say, because one, I'm not a manager, and two, I'm not the one that's being victimized in this kind of thing. So it's difficult for me to be able to say something that will be relevant, I imagine, when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because as much I am in a privileged position at this moment in time, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to get around this. I mean, I can't see it being that difficult for a company to try and make it safe for everybody. It seems like they're shooting themselves in the foot with this kind of thing. I don't think it should take that long for them to be able to put changes in place to make everyone feel safe and welcome. It shouldn't be that hard, but it seems like they're making an absolute meal of it.
I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to begin with. You shouldn't be able to. I mean, you should make an environment that's not toxic. That should be the
Yeah,
norm. I mean, if
that's what I mean. How can you fuck that up so much?
I mean, you
It,
have to be a wrong'un to create an environment that is inherently toxic. Yeah, don't get me wrong.
yeah,
Ubisoft is huge. It was until CD Projekt Red started smashing shit in the last 12 months, the biggest games developer publisher in Europe. So that is massive. And when you're dealing at that sort of size, there is more stress, there is more pressure, there is more to deliver on. You do, as a result of that, get more benefits as well. But it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like, okay, all the stress and the pressure has turned into anger, angst, anguish, and toxicity, and no one's really getting any positives out of it. But I mean, fair enough. Fair enough. Your head's down. I'm playing devil's advocate here, so bear with me. I don't believe in what I'm saying, but fair enough. Your head's down. You're just grinding away, trying to get all the games out. You've got your 72nd edition of Assassin's Creed that needs to be released this year because, just because. Obviously, this is a few years ago, and you're working hard. You've got multiple titles, multiple different genres. You're doing dance games as well as Assassin's Creed, and everything else that Ubisoft delivers. It's easy to kind of. I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, but I don't believe in what I'm saying. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But what I'm trying to say is, you could be forgiven for being a little bit toxic in the fact that you're just stressed and you're just trying to drive shit home and whatever. But there's difference between being a little bit highly strung at work and being a sex pest, because it says women. Women and non-binary employees in particular were more likely to have seen or experienced harassment. That isn't just being highly strung. That is victimization. And how can you be someone that thrives in a creative industry and be so small-minded? It just goes against the whole process. Being creative is being accepting, it's not always accepting, it can be, usually is, but to see such small-mindedness and unacceptance inside one of the world's most creative industries is baffling. It's baffling. How someone decides that is the direction that they want their industry, their business to boom until they get their hand slapped is ridiculous.
Well, if it's there's one thing that I would like to know about this is that if it was an internal survey, what were the questions that was being asked and what was the answers that they could give? Because I bet you if it was 100% clarity, like it was just an open box and people could type in what they wanted rather than it being a checkbox, I think this could have been a lot potentially, because I don't know what the questions were. This could have been a lot worse. If people was able to, because if people can't bring themselves to sit in front of the managers for whatever reason and say, this is why I feel like I'm being victimized in one way or another. And it's just a bullet point and they have to select one from a drop down list or whatever that's already been predetermined. I think genuinely this could have been a lot worse if it was completely anonymous.
Yeah.
So again, I have absolutely no idea how they could even go about trying to change this, but it shouldn't get to a point where you need to put dramatic things in place to be able to make everyone feel like they're welcome to walk through the door. It's a very how far down the road have they gone to be able to get into a position like this? It must have been horrific to work in there over the last 3 years if it's taken this long and they're so far down this road for them to be able to say, right, okay, actually 20% of people don't feel safe. A lot of people. That is a lot of people of 14,000.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. I can't work it out. 2,800 people don't feel safe in their work or respected in their work environment, and you've seen it. Like stories have come out. I can't remember the name of the head dude at Ubisoft, or one of the head dudes, not Yves Guillemot, but one of the creatives was given an idea for a story, and an idea is not just that. Here's my idea. This is a pitch. This is a full pitch that whole team has spent ages working on. When you do that, you don't just go, I think we should make a Viking game. I think we should make a game, and we set it in a Viking environment. The reason we do this is because, and then you research how successful the Viking genre has been, or how represented the genre has been. There's actually a space in the market because no one else has done it for this amount of time, and we should have our lead character being a strong female character, a male lead, or a non-decided lead, allowing people to do whatever. Going through all these decisions And then if you choose a male or a female or whatever character, choosing what their traits are, what their personality is like, what their name is, what they look like, going through all of this process and putting that on a table and going, boom, us and the team, the whole team here have put this together. And then just there was a story where one of the guys just ripped it up and he went, "Nope, we don't need a female character." It was something along those lines. I can't remember the exact thing, so I don't want to put words into anyone's mouth. I don't remember who it was, but it was something ultimately dismissive. No, I don't believe a woman will sell that strongly enough. It should be a male character, something along those lines. May not be the direct quote, but the meaning's still the same. And I mean, that's how you make someone feel unrespected. You just put all this time and effort and research into delivering a game, and it was squashed because one guy at the top just believed different. And you get that in all jobs. You do get what a phrase that I use often is the hippo complex. The hippo is shortened version for highest paid person's opinion. The hippo often can just squash stuff based on opinion, whereas you've got facts, data, numerical research, and you've run fucking closed groups to have like detail to go with the stats to say why this should work. And Ubisoft have been guilty of that. Not only the lack of safeness and the discrimination clearly towards non-binary and women employees, it says within the article, but there's just the shutting down of ideas as well, and that stands out to me obviously more because I'm not non-binary and I'm not woman, but that stands out to me more because that's something that I can relate to more directly. Having someone above you that just instantly shits all over your ideas is one of the one of the most destructive things for a person. Not even just in a creative environment, in any sort of environment. If you just have someone that's just shits on you, negative, and nope, that's crap. No, that's no. Forget what you've done. No, this is right. I'm sure there's people in the chat that can attest to that. Having someone that just instantly puts out your, not even creative flame, just your flame can be horrendous. That's when you lose a lack of respect. That's when it attacks you mentally and starts to pull the rug out of you from not only your work, but everything. Then when you start to feel devalued and unmotivated, it filters into everything else. And Ubisoft have clearly not gone after. They've not gone after people, but what they've done is the opposite. They've not secured people's well-beings, male, female, binary, non-binary, or however. Asim says, "Yup, been there." Exactly. There we go. If you have someone above you that doesn't support you, that doesn't nourish you, that doesn't have your back, then that's poor. But if having someone that actively goes, "Nope, this is me, I'm better," micromanages, over-involves, makes decisions that don't need making. And Ubisoft, from the sounds of it, is guilty of all of that stuff. It will take.
So what do you reckon is the best and easiest way for them to be able to get around this? Like, not quickly, but what is their best foot forward in this now? Is it to release something PR because they seem to have done that 6 or 7 times and it's clearly not worked because, again, this is the 7th time that they put a PR statement out to state that they need to do better. So what is the best way? If you was to play devil's advocate, what is the best way now for them to be able, not even devil's advocate, if you was the top guy there and you're sick of putting out these PR statements because you know the shit. They got UK's premium #1 video games. Of course, that's talking about it. Do you know what I mean? So if you're making podcasts like if your news is making podcasts like this, it'll be globally. People will be talking about this at a global level. What is the way that they now can look to the future and trying to make it better as fast as possible? Because a year's time is too long. 6 months is too long. They need to put stuff in place now to make it a better place to work. Just because they've got new games coming out for a brand new console, but just to make it a worthwhile environment for people to be in, because they could just leave and go elsewhere, the people who are working there.
I think it's a difficult one to fix in a year's time, and it's a difficult one to fix quickly, because a lot of this will be people that don't even kind of realize that they're assholes, and not only that, they will be assholes with power. So it's a difficult thing as well. You can't just go, "You're an asshole" to someone that is an asshole, because hierarchy, chain of command, that doesn't allow for that sort of stuff. So it's not a quick fix. Sadly, we can't just call everyone out for being an asshole when they're an asshole. The world doesn't work that way, which is a shame. However, I think Ubisoft's biggest issue in terms of fixing this quickly is, you mentioned there, like, we're already on the 7th press release. I mean, it could be the 27th for all we know, because, I mean, you can forgive Ubisoft. One thing they did was the Ubi Forward event back in June, July or something. It was like at the start of that, or just before that, they said that they're not going to address any of the claims or any of the changes or anything like that, because it's too soon.
It's because of the time, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Because all
yeah.
these allegations were coming out after they've already made the video, which was bullshit.
But
Go
even
on.
still, you're like, all right, fair enough, fair enough. You can't do it. This is We're in the middle of a pandemic. Nobody was. I mean, not that we're all kind of au fait with the pandemic right now, but it's a bit more normal to us. We can understand, and everyone have figured out ways to work a bit better around it. But back then, fair enough, benefit of the doubt. But then they had another Ubi Forward last week before, whatever. Didn't address any of it again. Same thing again. We didn't want to address it in that. You should have addressed it then. That's when you should have done. The fact that it's not important enough for you to step in front of your marketing shows how little they are taking their employees seriously. If you understand that 20% of your employees don't feel safe or respected at work, you can't be surprised if you don't respect them enough to put their issues first. And that's the thing. Is it like, yes, it's business. Yes, it's business. But if you don't have staff and if people don't believe in your product, then your business is going to be hit. So surely the right bit of business would have been either right up front at the start of the video, gone into it and said it, boom, 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 or give up the killer moment at the end to be purely emotive. So you have, rather than having your killer moment where they announce whatever game on the 60th minute, do that on 55 minutes and then have 5 minutes of addressing what has happened, showing solidarity, bringing actual stories to light. Instead, what Ubisoft did was show you the stories of the people that are working on their games as they go, which is nice, but that's showing us stories of people that are happy in their jobs. That's a little bit propaganda. That's not highlighting the fact that I remember it was. I'm trying to remember something from the show. The Prince of Persia. I remember that we got to see from a Ubisoft office. I don't know. I don't think it was a Canadian. I can't remember. There was a woman anyway. I don't remember where the office was. I remember at the time thinking, I don't know where that is. Anyway, there was the project lead working on the Prince of Persia remake, and anyway, a woman project lead. She's a minority as well, so that's a good thing. Okay, you've got a woman who represents a minority group here. You've got an opportunity to show. And anyway, they just showed her as business as usual. We've been working on the game. This is what we did. Da da da, and it's fine. And it's just it's almost like, what's the opposite of whitewashing? It's kind of like, look, it's almost like, look, we can't be doing anything wrong because we have black friends, and it's like, no. How about using people like that to deliver how you are working to make their environments better by just showing a person of color and saying, oh look, she's clearly loving life. Look, she's a woman and a person of color, and she's working on games, and it's all wonderful. It's ignoring the real issues. That the issue is that women only make up 22% of the company, and they are more likely to have experienced harassment. That kind of stuff needs to be in those presentations, not put out by Vikki Blake in a news story 2, 3, 4 weeks later. That's just not good enough. That is not good enough.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Well, I don't know. I don't know because I've never obviously been at a company where you're at the very, very top to try and make and influence decisions. But like what Aston's just put there, it's good that this stuff is coming out. But let's be honest, ultimately, the majority of consumers don't care as long as they get their games.
Yeah.
So at what point will the people who are working there be able to hold the games ransom? Is this where was it? Was it Riot where everyone went on strike? Like everyone just left
Yeah, it
for
was.
a couple of days. Like it's going to get to a point where if the number from 20% increases to 30%, 40%, that then becomes a huge problem for them, because 40% of your 40% of your employees walking out, that's a lot of people leaving your building. And if they've all got things that they need to get off their chest, you are in for a tough time. So I think the sooner the better for them. Just make sure that everyone gets listened to, and make sure that your workplace is a viable place for them to be able to work, because these people are clearly good enough to be able to make games at Ubisoft. They will be able to walk into any other video game development team or publisher or social team or anywhere else and just leave Ubisoft. And if they're left with no employees, then there's no games. No games means no money. No money means that there's no one. No one wants to. People aren't going to be able to buy that game, and therefore there's nothing worse in this world than an entitled video gamer. Do you know what I mean? Have a look at Twitter; you'll find them all over the gaff.
I mean, that's what we're here for. Ta-da!
Exactly. So it's a very, I think for me, it's a very, very clear cut thing that they need to do, and it's to pull their finger out their arseholes and make sure that it's a viable place for people to work who are comfortable walking through the door every single day, that don't feel like they're having the piss taken out of them for just walking through the door. It's, for me, it's very clear cut. Obviously, it's not, because it's taken them over a year to be able to get this shit rolling. And it's not just Ubisoft. I mean, we're having a go at Ubisoft now because they're in the news and a PR statement's come out, which I think is a bit of a bullshit statement. These aren't the only this isn't the only company that's going through it at the moment. Riot are probably the worst at this moment in time when it comes to toxic places to work. So it seems to be a universal problem.
I mean, we spent forever this time last year talking about Blizzard and how they have all these values that they've literally got etched in stone at Blizzard HQ in Santa Monica, I believe it was. And yet they kind of ripped up all of that and went after Blitzchung because he spoke his feelings and his opinions about his nation, and absolutely went after him and the casters who didn't do anything about it. So yeah, I mean, people do care, but they also don't care. They just want to play their games, and video companies care as long as they can still make their money. And that's the thing. I mean, the industry kind of needs to keep its own. We have to have each other's backs. I think that's kind of it, because consumers are consumers. You can't count on your consumer to have your back, because a consumer is a consumer. They just want to consume. They want to jump in, pick up their thing, consume it, and get out. By definition, that is a consumer. They don't care about, and this is obviously a sweeping statement, they don't care about all of the drama that comes into getting that. They pick it up, they use it, and it's gone. They don't know who designed it. They don't sit there and read through the credits. They're not asked. The majority, obviously, there is a small minority of vocal consumers that are different, but yeah, the majority is like that, and businesses know that. So I think that's where the industry needs to keep on top of that. Things like Ubisoft being pulled out is by the industry, is by as a result of steps made by people in the industry to speak out against the shit that they've been put through in the industry. And the industry kind of needs to keep going with that, support each other in doing that. And keep holding these companies to task, because Ubisoft are going to keep making games. They're going to keep making money, as are Blizzard, and as is every other company out there that has done something shit to their employees or beyond. They will keep doing that. But one thing they don't like is negative PR, because negative PR doesn't necessarily stop the business as such. It probably does have an impact, but negative PR makes awkward conversations in the shareholder discussions, and the shareholders don't want that shit then. So by doing that, you're making it difficult for them. And if it's difficult for them, they're less likely to make it happen. So it's more of a war of attrition, probably, which is shit. We can't make the change right now, but by keeping on at it, we probably will influence change. Next year, the year after, 10 years' time, the world might be a little bit better than it is now. And yeah, it's not perfect, but better is better than worse, all the same. Ad says UB40 is greater than Ubisoft.
That's a very good point. Did I tell you the story about UB40?
No.
That I did not know. We was in Jamaica and UB40 was on. I was like, oh, I fucking love this song. And Samantha told me that it was a group of mostly white guys, and it blew my mind. That
the lead singer, I believe, is a white red-headed bloke. So
yeah,
so pasty white.
I looked at a picture and I was like, that could be me in like 30 years. It's some tall, ginger-haired, curly guy, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I would never, ever, well, I haven't for the 28 years of my life, realized that it was mostly a group of white guys. I didn't even know they was from England either. I thought there was like a Jamaican group. I've just lived a very sheltered life, clearly.
Anyway, stepping away from UB40, back into the chat, Asim says, even within the industry, people will be like, OMG! And shocked, but reality will be swept under the carpet soon enough and things will move on as usual.
Yeah.
For real change to happen, something dramatic needs to happen. Strike, question mark? And things that need to change at the top. I mean, that's the
I
thing.
agree.
Something dramatic is happening at Ubisoft around it in terms of the buzz and the media coverage. But I agree. For something to really change, Ubisoft are at this point in time, what have they done other than offer lip service? They didn't mention it on their main customer focusing show. They didn't mention it on their follow-up customer facing show. What they've done is run an internal secret, like oh, do you know what? Actually, you don't have to worry about it. It's an anonymous survey. Which is all well and good. Okay, you understand. Now you've done your survey, you have data to say that there are problems. The thing that this doesn't say is how they're going to fix that. Everyone at Ubisoft should be able to feel confident and have the same opportunities regardless of their gender, skin colour, religion, age, or other individual traits, concluded the letter. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. Everyone should that. That shouldn't be your conclusion. You don't need to survey 14,000 people to determine that actually, yeah, they should have the same opportunities. They should anyway. That's just natural. That's being a good person. That shouldn't be your conclusion. After surveying all these people, we concluded that they all should have the same opportunities. No, that should be where you begin with. The conclusion should be how you make sure that happens. If it isn't happening, the conclusion hasn't been reached yet. So yeah, that's the shit bit for me. Is at this point in time, Asim's point of saying nothing's really going to change unless something drastic happens. The sounds are there, but there's no action. What is the steps? How do we move forward? How do you guarantee that women and non-binary employees that only make up 22% of your workforce, but had, like, what was the way that they actually said it? More likely to have seen or experienced harassment. So these minorities in your workforce are experiencing the majority of the harassment. How do we fix that? Don't say they need the same opportunities. How do you ensure that they aren't misrespected, that they aren't overlooked, that they aren't squashed, that they aren't spoken to, or whatever? What are you gonna do that's gonna fix that? Until we see that, until we get actual steps of how that has changed, it remains lip service. So it's nice. It could be lip service building up to change. If it is, fair enough. But until that point, that's all that remains, lip service. Mr. T says, "Oh, I'll jump and scroll back up." Actually, remember, Twitch Prime's free, guys. Also, So Fred giveaway entry. Ads has been on the muscle moose.
Yeah.
We appreciate the shout out, the sentiment there. Ads saying, if you've got a Twitch Prime, feel free to drop that, because that way you're getting the giveaway entry for free. Nice. Asim says, "Yep, I've been there in this industry too, but let's leave it at that." Okay, no pressure. There's more. Like I said, one day I'll tell all in my autobiography. Bestseller, hopefully. Mad says, unionization required. Seems like the industry needs that kind of protection. Asim says, "I think so. Magic Man, only way workers have protection from draconian and rigid practices." That's it. I mean, the industry doesn't have any unionization to that sort of extent. I mean, you've seen it with writers. Quite often you'll see writers and actors, voice actors, are unionized, and they try to make sure that they don't take jobs that aren't union jobs. I remember there was something around, maybe it was Troy Baker, maybe it wasn't. Troy Baker, I can't remember. It was something along the lines of he either took a job that wasn't union and received some backlash off the back of it. He was trying to do something for his friends or something, but it wasn't union based. So therefore, it kind of went against taking union work. So it kind of undermined the union stuff. So it's difficult. By trying to support his friends or something, Troy Baker essentially undermined what's happening in terms of unionizing. But that just kind of highlights that we are in a difficult place. But yeah, that's kind of where it needs to go. Unless we have some sort of union that makes sure that workers are fully supported, that they are engaged, then at that point there is nothing securing us. There is nothing that says that Ubisoft can go, we know that people are misrepresented. We would like to fix it. How are you going to fix it? I didn't say we're actually going to fix it. Without a union, we can't force them to go, well, if you don't fix it, we're going to quit. Yeah, and it kind of needs to get there. I can't at this point, without probably spending hours racking my brain about it, I can't see any other simple fix. Not that creating unionizing a whole industry is easy, but it's probably the only way. The only simple to view way of fixing that. Chappers says, back was in a meeting, Ubisoft PR in the mud. Correct. Yes. David says, with you putting UB40, all I can think of is UB40. Well, I suppose Ubisoft could do a reggae song, Far Far Cry. Far Far Cry. It was UB40, by the way. Ads just put UB40. It was the same thing. So you made the same joke. Yay! From what I've learned from online in the past 2 years, I would be very hesitant about working in the industry, despite my love of gaming and creativity. I do hope it changes for the better and at pace. I mean, don't get me wrong. I work in the video games industry and I absolutely adore it. It's not perfect, but I've worked in other industries and hated it. I've worked in other industries and loved it. It's just because the industry can be shit doesn't necessarily mean that the industry is shit. It's the same with anything. You can work in an amazing company in the industry, which is an amazing industry, work on amazing products, but the person that you work for could be a cunt, and that will change the whole thing. I mean, just ask Bibby.
I mean, to be fair, it's a far cry. Hey, no pun intended. Away from the job that I used to have selling pens and pencils to schools, either over the phone or via social media. So it's a million miles away from that, and I would never ever want to go back to doing that. Now I've worked in the industry.
Yeah, the issue with that for me isn't the fact that I'm selling pens and pens. I just like the career prospects. I mean, can you go anywhere, or are you going to be stationary?
Let's just draw a line underneath this, Graham.
Oh. Do you know what? I've ruled that to be a good pun. Hey! Anyway, let's stop. Chapter says, yeah, UB40 white folks singing ska. Had 3 shots of rum this morning, says Ads.
Did you used to work for Schooltastic, Bivit? No, I worked for a company called Findel. I shall say Findel, but
as Mr. T says, yeah, Madge, as Graham is saying, it depends what you're doing and for which company. If both are good, it's an amazing industry to be in. Exactly. Gagad says tumbleweed. Chapter says, fuck off. Can I undo my subs over the last 5 months?
Members of the community we've got here.
That's not very nice. That's not very nice at all. Honestly. This is world-class content that for some reason nobody else is doing. I don't understand why. Anyway, let's move forward. Enough of Ubisoft. Do you know what? I will wrap it up with a caveat. You are?
54 minutes again.
Yeah, 10 minutes of that is countdown, so that's not too bad. We're okay, as long as we don't spend too long on the last 2 stories. To give the caveat of Ubisoft, we came down on them hard because it's nice to come down on people that aren't looking after people. Easy tiger. If you aren't looking after your employees properly, then you should be dragged. But we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They sound like they're trying to fix it, so nice. Let's just see more of that going forward, Ubisoft. So the fact that you're in a shit place isn't great. The fact that you are making the sounds that you're getting out of it is good. It means nothing without change, though. So let's see. Let's jump into some PS5 conversations. You know, it's a new week. We might as well talk about new consoles. That's all we ever do talk about. Which one should we go into first? Let's have this one. The news has been pretty quiet on this. as the PS5's quiet cooling is even more impressive than its loading times, praises Japanese hands-on. This is written by Andy Robinson for VGC and came out yesterday, so you might have seen this, but obviously first time for us to jump onto it. And it says that in the tagline that the PlayStation 5 is said to be exceptionally quiet. I did my My Club spins this morning, and my PS4 Pro is anything but that, so that would be a welcome change. The first PlayStation 5 hands-on previews have expressed surprise at the quietness of the console's cooling system. Publications including 4Gamer and Dengeki shared their experiences with the next-gen console on Sunday, as well as over 10 YouTubers who published PS5 gameplay for Astro's Playroom, Godfall, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. The two publications aimed particular praise at the PS5's cooling system. Dengeki, translated by VGC contributor Robert Sefazon, said the quietness of the fans was more impressive than the loading times, while 4Gamer was similarly impressed. For it says, I started playing one of the launch titles, Godfall, and after some time passed, I checked the temperature. The breeze coming from the exhaust port was gentle and didn't feel exceedingly hot, wrote 4Gamer. During this time, the studio itself was about 30 degrees Celsius. Based on the specifications of the SoC, it operates at... is the SoC standard operating conditions, or is that... No, I don't know. It operates... No, that's not it. Based on the specifications of the FOC, whatever that is, it operates at around 55 to 60 degrees Celsius. While you may think, isn't the fan loud? It's quite the opposite. As previously mentioned, the breeze from the exhaust port was light, and I could barely hear what I believe to have been the fan rotation, it added. By the way, the studio where we shot was in a basement, and there were 4 powerful lights for recording videos on the ceiling, so the room temperature was 30 degrees Celsius. The publication notes that a typical home environment is likely to be much cooler than the studio they tested PlayStation 5, so it's quite likely that the PS5's exhaust will not be terrible. That's what my PS4 Pro's got at the moment. An exhaust full on like Vauxhall Nova exhaust with a. Anyway. It added. If anything, the main concern should be the size of the unit, so it's necessary to ensure enough space for both the unit as well as ventilation. If you plan to replace your PS4 with a PS5, be sure to account for its size and prepare an additional space of 10 to 15 centimeters from front to back, left and right. Dengeki was similarly impressed with the PS5's cooling system, calling the console exceptionally quiet. Wow, this article just keeps going.
I think it repeats itself maybe twice in the middle, because the YouTubers just seem to say the same thing. So I think you can probably get the gist of the article.
So they didn't notice the fan while playing Astro's Playroom and Godfall. That Godfall one is the one that kind of caught my attention, because Astro's Playroom, whilst it does have new technology and stuff in it, I'm thinking, okay, that could be fairly light. Something like Godfall, which is a game utilising next-gen hardware, that's the one that's more likely to give the fan a little bit of hard time. But the overall sounds, or lack of them, is that it's pretty quiet. Yeah, that's good. What's your thoughts, babe?
Yeah, I mean, we're all going to say the same thing when you put any game into the place, doesn't matter if it's off a disc or off the hard drive, that motherfucker be loud. Like, it's just... Well, I couldn't play the PlayStation in the bedroom, really, when I was at the old house, because if I was to play PES or something like that, I know full well it would have woke Samantha up. It's just so loud, and it's so hot as well. But hopefully, I mean, even if it's slightly quieter than what we've had previously, I mean, it just sounds like it's going to blow up. Love the fact that someone said it sounds like a Subaru Impreza Radical Turbo on it. It's still fucking quieter than a PS4. I agree, man. Like, it's just unnecessarily loud. I don't know how that managed to get out of testing all them years ago. I mean, people have said that they've taken the consoles apart, put thermal paste on, clean the fans out, and then it goes back to being quiet again. I can't imagine it being that much quieter, if I'm being honest. But here we are. We're going to have a brand new console. Hopefully, it will be a lot quieter. I mean, to be fair, the size of the unit, I hope that they've actually got some sort of giant fan. Anything, even if it's the same size as this inside there, to try and stop it from being loud. I don't care. It just needs to be it needs to be quieter. It needs to be quieter.
Yeah, I don't believe it's anything to do with the thermal paste. After hearing Mark Cherney's tech deep dive, I'm going to butcher it. I've tried to explain it before. I'm going to butcher it again. Basically, the way that the PlayStation 4 and all consoles essentially create images on screen is using polygons, and those are either triangles or rectangles. And the gist of it is anything that's made out of triangle shapes is more difficult. That requires more loading time. So just because you're in the middle of a game in a scene that's like heavily intense doesn't necessarily mean that it's intense on the architecture, which is why you might see in some games. So PES, for example, you sign a player from a My Club Spin, and then you get them holding like the black ball on screen where you've got the and then they stood there. Suddenly, your PlayStation goes, and it's like literally you are just holding a dude on the screen. That's what it does. That's what it does.
I would much rather have my fans sound like that. That would be amazing.
Just imagine, just a quick, quiet game of PES at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my god!
But yeah, the issue isn't necessarily that it's intensive in terms of what you think is intensive. It's like, fuck, I've got shootouts happening. I've got grenades going off. I've got TIE fighters flying over my head and all this stuff. It just depends on the triangles versus squares. It depends on if you have something that's made up of a lot of triangles. It might look beautiful, but might not actually look any more complex than the previous screen. But it's the way that the computer has to compute it. So yeah, that. The level of computations increases the heat. That then makes it absolutely spaff out heat. Don't get me wrong, adding more thermal paste will probably help with that. Absolutely will do. But that's where the issue comes from. So the fact that they've recognised that already makes you think that the way that they've programmed their chipsets to work and calculate that will instantly just eradicate a lot of the heat potential off the bat anyway.
Yeah.
Quiet till after a year, I bet, says ads. Well, there's that as well. There's that. I mean, my the PS4 Pro was noisy from like day one, pretty much. I've only had it a year, so yeah, mine's always been shat. So it probably just needs thermal paste replaced. And I did actually open up the top of it this weekend because you can just clip off the top of a PS4 Pro, which I didn't know. But hardly any dust whatsoever inside the console. You can see into the fan, hardly anything in there. So it's definitely not like I've just got shitloads of dust in it. Like you take off the lid and you can see there's certain ports where the air inflow, the intakes and the air goes out again. You can see that there's little areas where the dust has built up, but it's literally like table dust as opposed to like soot and big balls of crap that can get in the fans. So yeah. For my console, there's hardly anything in it, which is what you'd expect for a console that's a year old. So it's down to the way that it's computing, plus the fact that it's probably got not enough thermal paste.
As Pan says, yeah, the new PS4s aren't as loud as the early models, so the PS5 being quiet isn't a surprise.
I mean, I've got a brand new PS4 Pro, so I would beg to differ.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it all comes down to what's inside the console. I mean, why is it so big? Why is the console so big? I mean, to be fair, with the PlayStation compared to the Xbox, the power brick has always, barring the original Xbox, all the power bricks have been on the outside, whereas the PlayStation have always been inside. So that's always been nice. So the form factor for this one is obviously taking that into consideration as well. It needed a bigger PSU to be able to power the console. Obviously, if you're getting the disk drive one, they need to have the disk drive in there. Then they need the motherboard. Blah blah blah. I don't want to say they've got water cooling because obviously that's not the case. But have they got something inside the console this time that will potentially keep it a lot quieter? Like, have they got a bigger exhaust on the back of it? There needs to be something that needs to keep that motherboard cool, or the fans to try and keep it cool, because it's a lot more powerful than the PlayStation 4 was. And the PlayStation 4, when it's at full load, is just a nightmare. So I'm very interested to see when someone actually gets a hold of the PlayStation, where they start to do like Spawn Wave Media. I don't know if anyone's ever watched this stuff before, or Linus Tech Tips, where they do takedowns of the console. So they get the console, they'll rip it apart, and they show you exactly what's inside. I will be like a tech deep dive, I think is what Linus calls it. But yeah, just like taking it apart, see what's inside it, because I haven't seen what's inside either of these consoles yet. I don't think anyone's shown us. So I'm very interested to see how they're trying to keep these consoles as quiet as possible under full load.
Yeah, I think obviously nobody owns the consoles yet, so people have them, but it's like you've been given them for press reasons, so you're not allowed to start ragging them apart. As soon as it's day one, we'll start to see them all pulled apart.
Yeah.
Jumping back, when I lived at home with my parents, they used to joke that they never needed the heating on when I was home because the fucking heat off them things. I mean, the new PS4 Pros aren't loud like the early models. I do actually agree with that. I do agree with that. But they also aren't the greatest manufactured because there's so many people having issues with them. And if you look at some of the videos where people pull them apart, the amount of thermal paste that's put on them is so sparing. I think that's the issue. If you
Yeah.
get a good build that's had a nice generous dollop of thermal paste on it, then you're fine. Mine sounds like it clearly hasn't got that. Like I say, it's a year and a bit old, and it's been jet engine since day one, pretty much. So they have the potential to be better now, as long as they're made better. So hopefully the PS5 they're just absolutely, that's all it is. It'll just be a normal PS4 Pro with an SSD, a couple of better chips, and an absolute vat of thermal paste, just like
Yeah.
intravenous, just dripping down onto the the motherboard. Blup, blup, blup. Well, not motherboard, but anyway. Man just clicked that. Do you know what? I'll watch that in a sec. Thermal paste doesn't absorb heat, just transfers it more quickly to the heatsink radiator. So if the cooling solution is crap, it's always going to be crap. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the one I was looking at, do you know what? I might do that because Spike's done it and he spoke to me about it before, and someone else mentioned it in the chat, like giving me pointers of how to do it. And then I watched the video on it, and it's literally like, so just clip off the bottom. That's nice. Okay, break your seal so you can't take it back. Okay, I understand, but if it's easy enough, fair enough. Let's have a look. And then it's like, just undo these 72 screws. Nice. Arc your body into a full 90-degree angle whilst posting the screwdriver through underneath your legs. Sing the Macarena, and it's like, my God, this is the most complex thing in the world. So I just decided, do you know what? I'm not going to bother with that. The new console comes out in a month, so let's just wait for that. Let's wait for that. Anyway, one final article we'll jump on. It sticks on the PlayStation angle, so we don't have to go too far off this story. And this is about leading PlayStation developers condemn online abuse aimed at Insomniac Games following Spider-Man's recasting. This is a story written by Tom Ivan for VGC, and it says that threatening messages were sent to Insomniac creative director Brian Intihar. I don't know if that's how I pronounce his name, but threatening someone because they've recast a character in a video game. My God, I have heard of this before though, so it's not anything brand new. But leading PlayStation developers have called for fans to be respectful after Insomniac Games creative director Brian Intihara received threatening messages related to upcoming PS5 game Spider-Man Remastered. The studio revealed on Wednesday that it has recast Peter Parker's face from original actor John Bubniak to Ben Jordan, a move which was met with disapproval from some members of the game's community. The negative response to the decision included online abuse aimed at Intihar, who has been a creative director at the Spider-Man and Ratchet and Clank studio since 2014. Intihar responded on Twitter on Saturday, "To our Spidey fans, I totally appreciate your passion, but sending me threatening notes that you will hunt you down and we will find you, fix this now, isn't cool. What's happening in today's world? With what's happening in today's world, let's be a force for good and be respectful of each other. Thank you." Prominent Sony Interactive Entertainment developers came out in support of Intihar and condemned the online abuse he has received, including The Last of Us creative director Neil Druckmann and God of War director Cory Barlog. Sigh. "Sorry you have to deal with this crap, Brian," said Naughty Dog Vice President Druckmann, who was subjected to online harassment and threats earlier this year in response to The Last of Us Part 2 creative decisions. Do you know, I don't think we need to go too far into this article. I think we've got enough there. For those of you who don't know, Spider-Man on the PS4 was filmed with John Bubniak's face, and they've decided to change the face for the remastered version that's going to be coming out on PS5. The remastered version is the one that you can see in the article. I don't think it shows you the original. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So, I mean, I haven't played through, like I say, I've played 4 hours of Spider-Man. It was the same 2 hours twice. I won't give you any more information why. That's just the way I play games. It's fine. So, I haven't got that attachment yet. I'm still wanting to play this game. So I'm not necessarily that attached to John Bubniak anyway. Side by side, when I'm seeing the two faces, I actually think the new face is better than the old face, but then again, I don't have the emotive attachment. I understand if you've played through, I mean, how long is Spider-Man? 25 hours? If you've played through the game and you're attached to the original character, I understand that. You've got a bond. You've been through all these missions with this person for a day's worth of gameplay. But my God, it's a fictional character. I mean, having that much hatred at someone for a face changing. It's not even his voice, as far as I remember. John Bubniak was just the face actor matching someone else's voice, if I'm right. Um, People reacted with threats, etc. So, God, voice your complaint, but no need to be a complete asshole about it. Touche, correct. People from the video game community hailing abuse, threats, and all sorts of people involved in releasing video games. Nah, never. I've only ever experienced kindness from the video game community, even if they don't like something. This is surely fake news. I believe Axim isn't 100% truthful. I believe there is a slight hint of sarcasm there. Yeah, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. I mean, don't get me wrong. It would be nice in an ideal world to have the same guy doing the same thing from the outside, but we don't know the reasoning for that. I did see the article last week, and the reasoning said the only thing that I could take from it was to better match up for mocap, the voice for the capturing for the next generation, to match up the face and the animations to the voice. That was the reasoning for it, from what I saw. There is nothing else. There's no reasoning beyond that. But if that is the case, if that's it, then that's a reason. Okay, we just believe that we wanted to recapture it again, and this new guy's voice suits the voice and the animations, the acting in the face just matched better for the new system. It looked better. All right then, deal with it. Just back the fuck off. It's not your decision. You get to play it at the end. You can't just be a nasty bastard, and you can't choose who they employ. You can choose to play it or not. That's where your line stops. Stop being so entitled. The new face doesn't fit the character's age, in my opinion. It's too young. The character's meant to be 23 going by the game. See, I see that, but then again, this does look younger, but it also looks a lot more like Tom Holland, and he's around that age, right? He might be a bit younger. I don't know how old Tom Holland is now. He's one of those people that has looked... he's 24.
He's going to be 40 and look about 12 still, in it.
So that could be a 23-year-old's face. I mean, we are conditioned by Hollywood not to think that a 23-year-old looks like that. We're conditioned by Hollywood to think that everyone that's at high school looks like the cast of American Pie, who were like 40 or whatever they were. So I get that, but it's just one of those things in the eye of the beholder kind of thing. Good morning, Bacon Chin. Hey, dude, how's things?
Hey,
how's things? Yeah, I can see if you feel that it looks too young, it doesn't look like a 23-year-old person, and yeah, it's drama. Obviously, everything is dramatized. So the fact that a babyface could be 23 years old but looks younger in your head, I get that. It's all about the storylining in that sort of way. But if the story builds around it, and you have to just take it at face value. He's got a babyface, but he's 23 years old. He's he's living a life of a 23-year-old. I mean, if people can't believe that he's 23 years old, but can believe that he can swing around the city on a web, then I think they've got issues. He's half spider, but he's not 23. What the fuck? So yeah, whether that's not the serious bit about it though. Is the serious bit is there could be any sort of things. John Bubniak might have been, and this never been said anyway. It might have been a shit actor. They might have had to go through things over and over and over again to get it to look good. They might have had to done lots of post-production editing to make it work, to fix some of his below par acting. It could be. It could have been that. And they just thought, you know what, we don't have as much time, we want to get it nailed in one take, let's use Ben Jordan instead. It could have been that. It could have been John Bubniak was busy. It could have been John Bubniak's cost just didn't fit with it, so they've gone with someone cheaper. There could have been all sorts of reasons for it. All of them, Insomniac are perfectly entitled to do. I don't agree with changing characters in video games if you don't have to, but I know of backlashes of video game characters changes in the past. I also know of video game character changes in the past that the reasoning behind some of that stuff that was never shared, and I've seen video companies be hated for these decisions, whereas people don't know the full stories. So I'm happy to take this at face value and go, do you know what, they've made decisions. They could be legal stuff, they could be nasty stuff, they could be anything. I'm aware of that happening in the past. So yeah, do you know what, just play the game. Play the fucking game. It looks more like Tom Holland. Kiefer Sutherland, there you go, exactly, there you go. Kiefer Sutherland came in, Konami got an absolute hatred of that. I mean, don't get me wrong, David Hayter's voice, for most people, will be Snake. But we don't know why. We don't know why. I mean, you probably know why. I know why, but most people don't know why. And yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. At the end of the day, I'm not going to be raging about it. I enjoyed the game. Look forward to Miles on the PS5 edition version. Exactly. That's it, Madge. If you didn't like it and you think he doesn't look old enough, all right, great. You're not sending death threats. And that's how do you go from that to that? People. Anyway, let's wrap things up. It's rather common in popular media, actually. I mean, does Ash Ketchum look 33? Exactly. I mean, to be fair, Ash Ketchum was 10 years old and his mum's just gone, fuck off into the real world. See you in 6 months. What? Stop being logical, Magic Man. I mean, imagine not quite loving the idea of something, but going, do you know what? Life's not that important, really, in that sort of sense, anyway. Anyway, we are going to drop off. Thank you, everyone, for joining in for yet another episode of The Scoop. We always enjoy having you all in here, as well as Eds for dropping a host, Chucky for dropping a 7-month, and who was the other 7-month? My minifeed doesn't have it. Chucky and Show, there we go. Don't understand why my Streamlabs minifeed doesn't have it. I bet it's on my dashboard, though. I'll create a dashboard, which I didn't have open. Let's have a look. See if that's up to date, just so I know for my own. It is. There you go. I don't know why. Oh, well, Chucky Show, thank you very much for the 7 months each. We absolutely appreciate you all being here and the support. Thank you. Madge says, I've joined the Discord server. Yeah! Make sure you link your accounts. If you haven't done it, make sure you do it, because we will refresh the list just before we draw it. We'll draw it in Masters of the League. If you don't know what that is, Masters of the League is our PC modded Master League. We are playing Pez as Ice Cream Uploads FC, and we are 3 seasons almost in. 2.5 seasons almost in. And we've just had some new signings. We've just finished the January transfer window. I'm about to head out into the second half of the season with a new defensive line, and it's one that we need. We've got a very difficult set of fixtures coming up, so let's see how we go. But if you want to join us and you're not that bothered about the football, you think maybe I could just do it with some freebies. Well, if you want to bag yourself a copy of PGA 2K21 or 3 months of... is it just PC Games Pass, or is it all Games Pass?
Yeah, it's just Xbox Game Pass for PC. For PC.
Nice. So if you have a PC and you want Xbox Game Pass for 3 months, we have a code for that to give away, which we will drop in... we'll pick 2 people. We're going to pick 2 people, should I say. So that will be taking place in the Master of the League stream. So if you want some freebies, if you want a copy of PGA or 3 months of Game Pass, then tune into the Master of the League stream, which follows after the break. We're going to go offline now. We'll come back with all the green screen and everything set up. And within that, we will do 2 spin wheels, should I say. Not 3. I don't know where I've got 3. We'll do 2 spin wheels. 1 person will get PGA. 1 person will get the Game Pass code. And that is the way that we give back to our subscribers. ! Loot drop. If you're in the chat and you've got a keyboard in front of you, type it in. That will give you a link to what the loot drop is. That's how we give back to our subscribers every month. A way of supporting you for supporting us. It's nice. By the way, do we have an ETA on new events at the ICU Clubhouse? Says Iceman.
Yes, they will be returning on Thursday.
Hey. Nice. Hopefully winning a different kind of links. I don't follow. I don't know. While I try absorb that. Bib, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yes, of course. If there is any video game news that you want to hear our thoughts and opinions on, you also want to voice yours. There's 2 ways that you can do that. First of all, links are now in the chat for you to be able to do so. Spoiler alert. It's Ice Cream Uploads across all social media platforms. Second way, get into our Discord. There's an area in there called The Scoop. All we need is a link to the article, your thoughts and impressions. We will then add our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which will be at what time tomorrow, Mr. Graham?
10 a.m. Ish. Tomorrow we will be back in the studio. It's a Tuesday, so myself and Bib will be in the ICU studio. In the new socially distanced setup. Not saying it's a superior setup, but it's just the world that we live in for now. So join us as we sit in the comfy chairs in the studio tomorrow. We'll be live at around 10 a.m. For that tomorrow-ish, as we say each and every single day. But once again, all of the links in the chat, the links to all the socials, the links to the Discord, as Bibbs has just mentioned, and the link to the loot drop in there as well. Thanks, Madge and Iceman, for dropping all of those links. And you beautiful, beautiful people. We're going to disappear. We'll be back in about 10, 15 minutes-ish for the next episode of Master of the League. So hang around in the channel or drop a follow and you'll get notified when we go live. And that's it. Have yourselves a fantastic day and we'll see you in 15. Till then, stay frosty.